My name is Babatunde Olusegun Faleke, the Managing Director of Nigeria Exporters Hub, where we engage in how to export, what to export, where to export, and also assist in market access. I just want to welcome you to our webinar, the first series, and we will be engaging you on this platform frequently. You're welcome. My subject for today that I'm going to take you through is what we title Exploring Export Business Opportunities, with a subtitle on Unlocking Global Markets for Growth. You want to ask, why export? You want to export because you need to expand your landscape. You want to generate revenue. You want to earn in dollars. You don't want to be buying Forex. You want to diversify your customer base. You enhance competitiveness and also create jobs and stimulate economic growth. You become a trade influencer globally. These are reasons why we would export. And apart from that, changing the export narrative in Nigeria is paramount, is important now. It also assists in GDP increment, also assists in balance of trade, because if you export less and import more, there will definitely be deficit on the balance of trade, balance sheet of the country. So we need to export, we need to earn Forex, and doing that is not by the government, it's by individual. It's a deliberate action that every firm need to embrace at this time. The next is, what are the benefits of exporting? Yeah, just like why you want to export. Earnings are mostly in foreign exchange, no matter the currency. The moment your good cross the shore of the country to another country, what you have, what you pay with is Forex. It could be silver, it could be dollar, it could be pound, it could be euro. You start earning in dollar, you have a domiciliary account to yourself, by which you can access or do other things by importing equipment, machinery that you might need. You pay school fees, use it for medical reasons or any other reasons, as long as you utilize it for expansion. Again, export enhances productivity and creativity. By the time you meet international buyers or customers, you'll be engaged in conversation that may lead to product adaptation or product diversification for the purpose of meeting that market. So it enhances productivity and creativity. Also, credibility, you will gain reputation as well internationally. You have access to new technologies and expertise. Developing your product might require you to bring someone that has expertise in that field. I recall some years back that we were talking about textile development, and we had to go to as far as Sri Lanka to get people to help shaping the industry, and it's quite a lot of advantage. So you have capacity, access to expertise in some fields. Then you gain global visibility. The moment your product leaves the shore of the country, say to Cote d'Ivoire, say to US, you are known. For example, if you are able to meet Walmart, it's going to cut across the length and breadth of US. That is gaining global visibility, benefit of exporting. Then the next thing I want to talk about is identifying export opportunities. Before you take decision to export, you need to first identify what are the opportunities, because the opportunity is vast. Then how do you do that? The first thing is to research to local products and services available within the country. We have 774 local governments, and I can tell you that there is no local government with a unique product or services that cut across agriculture, art and craft, services, entertainment. You need to identify, where are you playing for? Where are you playing for? Are you in Osun State or in Lagos State or in Akwa Ibom? What is abundant there? What can you export from there? You identify this first and foremost. Work on it, embrace it, understand it. Then the next thing is to research the global market itself, looking at the trend and demand. You have to have a market in view. Am I looking at country ABC? What do they want most that is available in Nigeria? Then you talk about the competitors. Who are the players there already? you want to know the market gaps that you are filling. Because export is deliberate, you have to be very, very calculative and articulate the processes of gaining the market. Then you have to identify your selling point. What is your unique selling points? And what do you have as competitive advantage? Is it price? Is it the uniqueness of the product? Is it the packaging? Is it the needs that you are meeting? Then you want to evaluate your export readiness and capabilities. Am I ready for export? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the wherewithal? Do you have the finance? Can I adapt and adjust? These are researches you've got to do before you take the decision that you're exporting. Then you have to develop what we call export plan, export strategy. That will be ABC of your processes. That will be your roadmap to export. And then you can now harness the opportunity and do the real export. I'll be talking about market research and analysis as well. What do you want to do under market analysis and research? One, you want to gather data on target markets and customers. Who are your potential customers? Who are you looking at? What is the age bracket? Old or young? Is it the sex, the male or the female? Are you combining, say, a unisex program? Then what product are you looking at? You need to analyze the market you want to penetrate. Then you analyze the market trend, the size, and the growth potential. These are things that you must do before you at all develop product for export. Then you have to look at what are the barriers, likely barriers. Is it language? Is it custom? Is it culture? Is it information? Is it logistics? Then you compare with the opportunities. You have to balance this. Then you have to also look at the cultural regulation and regulatory issues over there. With all this in mind, you can now plan and develop your market entry strategy. You also want to look at how do you sell your product. Are you using wholesaler? Are you using direct sales? Are you advertising? What are the things you are doing? And what do you intend to achieve in terms of market research and analysis? Also, you want to look at how do I choose the right export market? Choosing the right export market means that you have to analyze the market size, the growth potential. You have to assess competition, like I said. What are the market entry barriers? You have to closely appraise cultural and regulatory differences. You have to evaluate logistics and transportation costs. Also, you want to select a market where you have comparative advantage to play. Where you don't have comparative advantage, you cannot do it. You must know the do's and don'ts in the country of target. For example, there are regulations on alcoholic consumption in some country. If you want to export, you must know what is the alcoholic content. Even cosmetics has some ingredients and components of chemicals you cannot use. All this must be observed, appraised, evaluated before you choose to export to that market. So what are the export marketing strategies you want to consider? You have to consider a unique value proposition, like I mentioned. You have to embrace digital marketing channels. You also have to look at leveraging on social medias and content marketing. Above all, you must engage in trade participation. You need to look at business opportunities by engaging what we call business matchmaking events that give you a platform to see what others are doing and also promote your product. And these are mostly available using the trade fair participation platform or any B2B arrangement that suits you, or join any local chamber of commerce for the purpose of trade mission and exhibition. These are marketing strategies you need to use. And also you need to gather market intelligence through this platform. You'll be able to compare how well can your product do in those countries. Then next, I want to look at export logistics and operations. When you are considering your production options, it's not only about the transport. You must consider your product. If your product is fragile, then you can't go on sea. You have to look at flying. That means you cargo your product. So all this, the mode of transportation is very, very important. And this is subject to the kind of product you have. It's perishable. You have maybe exporting roses or horticulture. Certainly it cannot go by sea because you lose the value. Then again, you have to consider warehousing and inventory management. This is very, very important. You have to develop a unique package and labeling strategy for your product to be catchy. Sometimes and most times, people buy packaging than the product. So you must consider packaging very, very, very well. It must be properly packaged, properly labeled. Information must be accurate for your consumer to know what and what is consuming. The content, the food content, if it's food, the regulatory procedure, your certification, everything that convinces the customer to buy must be on labeling. So you have to research on labeling and packaging the product. Then you must comply with export regulation of the country, even from where you are living. Some products are banned. You need to know what products are not exportable. So you must acquaint yourself with import regulations in those countries and export regulation of your country. You need to have knowledge about that. Also, you have to manage your export documentation and paperwork. This you could engage a consultant for that matter. All these are very, very important for you. Well, the next thing I want us to consider is export financing and risk management. When you want to engage in export, you must consider funds very well. I will tell you it's not cheap, it's very expensive. So you must count your cost. And costing has to do with the type of product you want to export. For example, let me narrow it down to you want to export, say, commodities. The commodities are in various categories. Let me say you want to export cassiatura now. You need to know how much does cassiatura cost per metric tons. You need to know what it takes you for processing, stocking, the logistics involved, movement, warehousing, sourcing it, cleaning it. You need to prepare for it. And also through shipping, you need to count your cost. And the next thing is, how am I raising the funds? I always advise, don't go borrowing money for your first export. Either you save enough funds or you go in partnership. Some may have the product and don't have money to do other processes. Try to collaborate. Try to go cooperative if you don't have the fund. But if you have the fund, the better. Because for you to export cassiatura, a container will cost maybe not less than 10 million or 8 million, depending on what you are buying. So all the processes. So how do I get this funding? How do I process it? You also need to know your cost centers, which is what we can quickly take you through under next up. There are processes, documentation, a lot of things are there. Then what are the risks? The risks are also there. You need to look at the risk. The risk is number one, price fluctuation is number one risk. So you must know when to buy, how to buy, where to buy, and when to export. The next risk is market you are targeting, which market you are targeting. If you are looking at China, your competitiveness in cassiatura ends by February. So you must resource, buy, plan to execute export between November and February. So you must count your cost. So you must be prepared. The funding must be available because you need to hit the market as soon as possible for you to gain comparative advantage price-wise. Then the next thing you want to consider is compliance and regulations. Very, very important. When you want to export a particular product, there are certifications you require. Like if you are exporting to China now, there is what called GACC. You want to export to USA, there are what called FDA certification. So a lot of certifications are needed. These are costs. Then over there, do you have a ready market? Do you have a ready buyer? If you don't have, you have to consider warehousing. So all these are cost centers that you need to consider very, very well. Your documentation is very, very important. There are some documentation that need to attach to your product, which is very, very important. Not having the right documentation can lead to rejection and loss of funds. So considering product of export, determine the financing depending on what you are doing. If you are doing hibiscus, it's different. The country of target is different. So the costing and financing depends on where you are going, where you are sourcing, where you are operating, and the level of operation. So these are to be considered. But at Next Up, we can take you to practical step when you subscribe under our platform. Conclusively, I will tell you that export is very, very beneficial. It's highly beneficial and rewarding, but you must be very, very articulate. You must articulate your program. You must diligently execute your programs. And apart from that, warehousing is very, very important. I also tell you, you'll be able to diversify. You'll be able to increase your market share worldwide. You'll also be able to earn decent salary. You'll also be able to earn forex. You'll also be able to meet your needs internationally. And apart from that, you'll be able to sharpen your knowledge and understanding in international trade. And also, you'll be able to take your export dream to another level. Because as you overcome some challenges, you'll be able to do well and also be able to penetrate other markets. The moment you succeed in one market, you can do better in other markets. And apart from that, I think you need to put in place what we call monitoring and evaluation. How do you evaluate yourself? You evaluate yourself by simply looking at what you are doing rightly and how can you improve on what you are doing, and also looking at, did you meet your target? Because you must set target for export. If you don't meet your target, why? So you can take corrective measure. Above all, I can tell you that export is very, very lucrative, but it must be diligently followed. Thank you.